11. 1ch6. 1, 16. Each of these families was assigned a place near the tabernacle in the wilderness. The Kohathite family of Aaron camped in front of the tabernacle to the east. The other Kohathites camped on the south side, the Gershonites on the west, and the Merarites on the north. New 3. 23, 29, 35, 38. Setting up, dismantling, and carrying the tabernacle was the work of the Levites. When it was time to move, Aaron and his sons took down the curtain dividing the holy from the most holy and covered the ark of the testimony, the altars, and other sacred furniture and utensils. The Kohathites then carried these things. The Gershonites transported the tent cloths, coverings, screens, courtyard hangings, and tent cords, evidently the cords of the tabernacle itself, and the Merarites took care of the panel frames, pillars, socket pedestals, tent pins and cords of the courtyard surrounding the tabernacle. New 1. 50, 51. 3. 25, 26, 30, 31, 36, 37. 4. 4-33. 7. 5-9. The work of the Levites was highly organized under David, who appointed supervisors, officers, judges, gatekeepers, and treasurers. O text to acute muritra longo. Leviticus 242. Maintenance. Maintenance of the Levites was mainly by tithes from the other tribes, a tenth of everything produced from the ground and the cattle being given them. The Levites, in turn, passed on a tenth of this to the priests. New 18. 25-29. 2ch 31. 4-8. NE 10. 38, 39. Also, though the Levites were exempt from military service, they, along with the priests, shared some of the spoils of battle. New 1. 45-49. 31. 25-31. See tithe. The Levites received no territorial allotment in Canaan, Jehovah being their share. New 18. 20. However, other tribes of Israel gave them a total of 48 cities scattered throughout the promised land. New 35. 1-8. Provided supporters of true worship. The Levites supplied some notable examples of enthusiasm for true worship. This was evident in the golden calf incident and again when Levites moved out of Jeroboam's territory following the split in the kingdom. Acts 32. 26. 2ch 11. 13, 14. They were also zealous in their support of kings Jehoshaphat, Hezekiah, and Josiah, as well as of governors Zerubbabel and Nehemiah and the priest scribe Ezra in their efforts to restore true worship in Israel. 2ch 17. 7-9. 29. 12-17. 30. 21, 22. 34. 12, 13. As 10. 15. NE 9. 4, 5, 38. As a tribe, however, they did not support the Son of God in his work of restoration, although some individual Levites became Christians. Act 4. 36, 37. Many of the Levite priests became obedient to the faith. Act 6. 7. With the destruction of Jerusalem and its temple in 70 CE, the family records of the Levites were lost or destroyed, bringing the Levitical system to an end. But, a tribe of Levi constitutes part of spiritual Israel. Re 7. 4, 7. The name of the tribe is also the basis for the name of the Bible book Leviticus. This book deals extensively with the Levites and their duties. Leviticus. The third book of the Pentateuch, containing laws from God on sacrifices, purity, and other matters connected with Jehovah's worship. The Levitical priesthood, carrying out its instructions, rendered sacred service in a typical representation and a shadow of the heavenly things. Hebate. 3-5. 10. 1. Period covered. Not more than a month is covered by the events given in the book. Most of Leviticus is devoted to listing Jehovah's ordinances rather than recounting various happenings over an extended period of time. The tabernacle's erection on the first day of the first month in the second year of Israel's departure from Egypt is mentioned in the final chapter of Exodus, the book preceding Leviticus. X 40. 17 Then, the book of Numbers immediately following the Leviticus account in its first verses 1:3 begins with God's command to take a census, stated to Moses on the first day of the second month in the second year of their coming out of the land of Egypt. When and where written. The logical time for the writing of the book would be 1512 BCE at Sinai in the wilderness. Testifying that Leviticus was indeed written in the wilderness are its references that reflect camp life. Before 21. 10. 4, 5. 14. 8. 17. 1-5. Writer. All the foregoing evidence likewise helps to identify the writer as Moses. He received the information from Jehovah 26. 46, and the book's closing words are? These are the commandments that Jehovah gave Moses as commands to the sons of Israel in Mount Sinai. 27. 34 Besides, Leviticus is a part of the Pentateuch, the writer of which is generally acknowledged to be Moses. Not only does the opening and of Leviticus indicate its connection with Exodus, and therefore with the rest of the Pentateuch, but the way in which Jesus Christ and the writers of the Christian scriptures refer to it shows that they knew it to be the writing of Moses and an unquestionable part of the Pentateuch. For example, see Christ's reference to Leviticus 14. 1-32 Mount 8. 2-4, Luke's reference to Leviticus 12. 2-4, 8 Luke 2. 22-24, and Paul's paraphrasing O texto e acute miritra longo, Leviticus 243 through the sanitary and dietary laws, as well as the regulations on sexual morality, they were provided with safeguards against disease and depravity. The chaps 11-15, 18 especially, however, did these laws benefit them spiritually, because they enabled them to get acquainted with Jehovah's holy and righteous ways and they helped them to conform to his ways. 11. 44 Furthermore, the regulations set out in this portion of the Bible, as part of the law, served as a tutor leading believing ones to Jesus Christ, God's great high priest and the one foreshadowed by the countless sacrifices offered in accord with the law. 3. 19, 24. Heb 7. 26-28. 9. 11-14. 10. 1-10. The book of Leviticus continues to be of great value to all today who desire to serve Jehovah acceptably. A study of the fulfillment of its various features in connection with Jesus Christ, the ransom sacrifice, and the Christian congregation is indeed faith-strengthening. While it is true that Christians are not under the law covenant Hope 7. 11, 12, 19. 8. 13. 10. 1. The regulations set out in the book of Leviticus give them insight into God's viewpoint on matters. The book is, therefore, not a mere accounting of dry, inapplicable details, but a live source of information. By getting a knowledge of how God views various matters, some of which are not specifically covered in the Christian God's laws, especially concerning the service of the priests in Israel, with emphases, for the benefit of the nation as a whole, on the seriousness of sin and the importance of being holy, because Jehovah is holy written by Moses in 1512 BCE, while Israel was camped at Mount Sinai Aaronic priesthood is installed and begins to function. Moses carries out the 7-day installation procedure 8. 1-36 On the 8th day, the priesthood begins to function. Jehovah manifests his approval by displaying his glory and consuming the offering on the altar 9. 1-24 Jehovah strikes down Nadab and Abihu for offering illegitimate fire. Subsequently the use of alcoholic drinks, when one is serving at the sanctuary is forbidden 10. 1-11 Requirements are outlined for those who will serve as priests. Regulations are laid down about eating what is holy 21. 1. 22. 16 Use of sacrifices in maintaining an approved relationship with God. Laws are given regarding animals acceptable as burnt offerings and how they should be prepared for presentation 1. 1-17. 6. 8-13. 7. 8 kinds of grain offerings are stipulated as well as how they are to be presented to Jehovah 2. 1-16. 6. 14-18. 7. 9, 10 procedure is laid down for handling communion sacrifices. The eating of blood and fat is forbidden. 3. 1-17. 7. 11-36 Animals are specified for sin offering in the case of a priest, the assembly of Israel, a chieftain, or one of the people. Procedure for handling this offering is outlined. 4. 1-35. 6. 24-30 Laws are given on situations requiring guilt offerings. 5. 1. 6. 7. 7. 1-7 Instructions are handed down regarding the offering to be made on the day of the priest's being anointed. 6. 19-23 All offerings must be sound. Defects making an animal unfit for sacrifice are listed. 22. 17-33 Atonement Day procedures are outlined involving the sacrifice of a bull and 2 goats. 1 goat for Jehovah and the other for Azazel. 16. 2-34 Detailed regulations to safeguard against uncleanness and to maintain holiness. Certain animals are acceptable as clean for food and others are prohibited as unclean. Uncleanness results from contact with dead bodies. 11. 1-47 A woman should be purified from her uncleanness after giving birth. 12. 1-8 Procedures for handling cases of leprosy are detailed. 13. 1. 14. 57 Uncleanness results from sexual discharges, and purification is required. 15. 1-33 Holiness must be maintained by respecting sanctity of blood and by shunning otextoi acute muritra longo. Liberty 244 Greek Scriptures. The Christian can be helped to avoid what displeases God and to do what pleases Him. Liberty. See freedom. Jubilee. Libna from a root meaning white. Or, possibly, storax tree. 1. An Israelite wilderness encampment. Its location is unknown. New 33. 20, 21. 2. A royal Canaanite city taken by Joshua before the conquest of Lachish. Jos 10. 29-32, 39. 12. 15 Libnah was one of the cities in the territory of Judah given to the sons of Aaron. Jos 15. 21, 42. 21. 13. 1ch6. 57 centuries later King Josiah's father-in-law lived there. 2 Chi 23. 31. 24. 18. Ja 52. 1. At the time of the Edomite revolt in the 10th century BCE Libnah also rebelled against Judean King Jehoram. 2 Chi 8. 22. 2ch 21. 10 In 732 BCE Assyrian King Sennacherib's army moved from Lachish to Libnah. He had sent a military detachment from Lachish to threaten Jerusalem. While at Libnah, the Assyrians received reports that Tyhakel the king of Ethiopia intended to fight them. Therefore, Sennacherib, to encourage Jerusalem's surrender, sent messengers a second time with intimidating letters to Hezekiah the king of Judah. Subsequently Jehovah's angel slew 185,000 of the Assyrian host, apparently still encamped near Libnah. 2 Chi 19. 8-35. Issa 37. 8-36. Tel Es-Safi has been suggested as a possible identification of ancient Libnah. However, since the weight of evidence points to identifying Tel Es-Safi with Gath, contemporary scholars tend to identify Libnah with Tel born at Tel Burina, about 8 km 5 mi of Lachish. Libni from a root meaning white. 1. A grandson of Levi and the son of Gershom. X6. 17. 1ch6. 17 He was the founder of a Levitical family. New 3. 18, 21. 1ch6. 19, 20 and was evidently also called Laden. 1ch 23. 6, 7. 26. 21. 2. A Levite who descended from Merari through Mali. 1ch 6. 29. Libnites of belonging to Libni. A family of Levites who descended from Gershon through his son Libni. New 3. 21. 26. 58. Libya Libya middle.a, Libyans Libya middle.ans. Ancient Libya occupied an area of northern Africa of Egypt. Its inhabitants are generally thought to have been designated by the Hebrew term Luvim. 2ch 12. 3. Libyans, LXX, NW, RSFLU middle.vim is a variant of middle.vim Lhabim. This may indicate that at least some of the Libyans descended from Ham through Mizraim. GE 10. 13. The traditional Jewish view found in the writings of Josephus Jewish Antiquities, I, 130-132 6, 2 makes the Libyans descendants of Ham through Put. GE 10. 6. Also, the Greek Septuagint and the Latin Vulgate read Libyans in Jeremiah 46. 9, Ezekiel 27. 10, and 38. 5. Where the Hebrew text says Put. It is possible, of course, that descendants of both Put and Mizraim settled in the geographic region of northern Africa that came to be called Libya. This would mean that the designation Libyans is more comprehensive than the Hebrew term Luvim. Egypt's king Shishak, regarded as the founder of the Libyan dynasty, captured numerous cities when he invaded Judah in the 5th year of King Hobom 993 BCE. His powerful force of chariots and horsemen included Libyans. Although Jerusalem itself was spared, Shishak stripped the city of its treasures. 1 Kai 14. 25, 26. 2ch 12. 2-9 About 26 years later 967 BCE the Libyans were represented among the troops of Zerah the Ethiopian, which penetrated Judah, but suffered humiliating defeat. 2ch 14. 9-13. 16. 8 In the 7th century BCE the assistance of the Libyans and others was seemingly of no avail in saving the Egyptian city of No-Amen from calamity at the hands of the Assyrians. Na 3. 7-10 It was foretold that the Libyans and Ethiopians would be at the steps of the king of the north, implying that these former supporters of Egypt would come under his control. Da 11. 43. In the year 33 CE among the Jews and proselytes at Jerusalem for the festival of Pentecost were persons o textoi acute miritra longo, life 245 something worthless, vain, valueless. PS 12. 2. Da 5. 20. PS 60. 11. 89. 47. Z 10. 2. The Hebrew verb committal.chash deceive evidently has the basic meaning prove disappointing. The 19. 11. Ho 9. 2. The Greek term certus and related words have to do with lying and falsehood. The father, or originator, of lying is Satan the devil. Jo 8. 44 His lie conveyed by means of a serpent to the first woman Eve ultimately brought death to her and to her husband Adam. GE 3. 1-5, 16-19 That first lie was rooted in selfishness and wrong desire. It was designed to divert the love and obedience of the first human pair to the liar, who had presented himself as an angel of light, a benefactor. Compare to Co 11. 14. All other malicious lies uttered since that time have likewise been a reflection of selfishness and wrong desire. People have told lies to escape deserved punishment, to profit at the expense of others, and to gain or maintain certain advantages, material rewards, or the praise of man. Especially serious have been the religious lies, as they have endangered the future life of persons deceived by them. Said Jesus Christ. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! Because you traverse sea and dry land to make one proselyte, and when he becomes one you make him a subject for Gehenna twice as much so as yourselves. Mount 23. 15 The exchange of God's truth for the lie, the falsehood of idolatry, can cause a person to become a practicer of what is degrading and vile. Row 1. 24-32. The case of the religious leaders of Judaism in the time of Jesus' earthly ministry shows what can happen when one abandons the truth. They schemed to have Jesus put to death. Then, when he was resurrected, they bribed the soldiers who had guarded the tomb so they would conceal the truth and spread a lie about the disappearance of Jesus' body. Mount 12. 14. 27. 1, 2, 62-65. 28. 11-15. Mr. 14. 1. Lu 20. 19. Jehovah God cannot lie. New 23. 19. Hope 6. 13-18, and he hates a false tongue. PR 6. 16-19 His law to the Israelites required compensation for injuries resulting from deception or malicious lying. PR 6. 2-7. 19. 11, 12 And a person presenting false testimony was to receive the punishment that he desired to inflict upon another by means of his lies. 19. 15-21 God's view of malicious lying, as reflected in the law, has not changed. Those desiring to gain his approval cannot engage in the practice of lying. PS 5. 6. PR 20. 19. Col 3. 9, 10. 1T3. 11. Re 21. 8, 27. 22. 15 They cannot be living a lie, claiming to love God while hating their brother. 1 Joe 4. 20, 21 For playing false to the Holy Spirit by lying, Ananias and his wife lost their lives. Act 5. 1-11. However, persons who are momentarily overreached in telling a lie do not automatically become guilty of an unforgivable sin. The case of Peter, in denying Jesus 3 times, illustrates that if a person is truly repentant, God will forgive him. Mount 26. 69-75. While malicious lying is definitely condemned in the Bible, this does not mean that a person is under obligation to divulge truthful information to people who are not entitled to it. Jesus Christ counseled, "Do not give what is holy to dogs, neither throw your pearls before swine, that they may never trample them under their feet and turn around and rip you open." Mount 7. 6 That is why Jesus on certain occasions refrained from giving full information or direct answers to certain questions, when doing so could have brought unnecessary harm. Mount 15. 1-6. 21. 23-27. Joe 7. 3-10 Evidently the course of Abraham, Isaac, Rahab, and Elisha in misdirecting or in withholding full facts from non-worshippers of Jehovah must be viewed in the same light. GE 12. 10-19. Chap 20. 26. 1-10. Joes 2. 1-6. Jos 2. 25. 2 Chi 6. 11-23. Jehovah God allows an operation of error to go to persons who prefer falsehood that they may get to believing the lie rather than the good news about Jesus Christ. O texto e acute miritra longo, Life 246, 66. 9. PR 3. 22. Vegetation has life, the life principle operating in it, but not life as a soul. Life in the fullest sense, as applied to intelligent persons, is perfect existence with the right to it. Jehovah God the source. Life has always existed, because Jehovah God is the living God, the fountain of life, and he is no beginning or end of existence. J 10. 10. Dar 6. 20, 26. Joe 6. 57. 2 Co 3. 3. 6. 16. 1th1. 9. 1t1. 17. PS 36. 9. Just 17.